Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I am so excited to be doing this video. I have not done a TBR jar prompt video in a really long time and your girl needs help choosing her TBR for 2025. So TBR jar prompts are going to choose my TBR for Q1, so January, February, and March. I don't really love doing monthly TBRs because I feel like that's too constricting. This year we're going to do quarterly TBR, so every 3 months I'm going to choose a TBR for the next 3 months. My reading goal this year is to read 60 books. If I break that down into the 4 quarters of the year, that is 15 books per quarter. So that is what we are going to do today. We are going to pick a prompt. We're going to choose 15 prompts and we are going to go through this TBR cart. I just did my how many books are on my physical TBR video and I have 145 books on my physical TBR. So with that being said, we are prioritizing our physical TBR this year for sure. I didn't want to just select from the 145 books on my TBR because I feel like that's just very overwhelming. So I selected a good bit of books from my physical TBR that are more high priority or books that I feel like I would want to read for January, February, March of 2025. I kind of know some of the prompts in here, so books that I feel would match some of the prompts. That's kind of how I selected this TBR and we're going to choose from this cart. So I hope I explained that. I have 2 jars. There's no difference between the jars. I just didn't have enough space for 1 jar. I think I have a little over 30 prompts and we're going to choose 15 of them. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm so excited. I'm so eager to choose my TBR. Like, I'm so ready. Like, I'm ready to go, baby. We're just gonna go from like 1 jar to another jar, take turns. This is the first one. Okay. Oh. First one is a fantasy. I have a good bit of fantasies on here, but I already feel like I know the fantasy that I want to read, and that is Air by Sabata Hair. This is her newest release. I'm so excited to be back into this world. If you read An Ember in the Ashes series, it's kind of within that world a couple years after the events that took place in that, and it follows different characters. One of the characters I do believe we already know, and I'm just really excited to be back in this world and back into her writing. I'm excited. So this is the fantasy pick I have for my TBR. Alright. This is like nerve-wracking but very exciting. Okay. A book that is under 400 pages. I feel like that's a lot of these. I also have some books on the other side of this. I'm gonna do Open Water, actually. This has been on my TBR for a while and I've been wanting to read this book so freaking bad. I've heard this is a very emotional read and I do think this is a debut. It is a debut novel by this author. So I'm gonna choose Open Water by Caleb Nelson as my book under 400 pages. And we got a goal of 60 books. We gotta choose some books that are big and some books that are short, okay? We gotta hit that goal. Let's just do one on top. Let's not dig in. A YA romance. I have Love Radio is one, and I think I have another one. I think this is a romance. So I have 3 that I can choose for a YA romance. I have Love Radio, I have If He Had Been With Me, and I have You've Reached Sam. I know these 2 are sad, or I suspect that they're pretty sad. I don't know, but this one has also been on my TBR for a really long time, multiple times, and what is that noise? I think I'm gonna go with Love Radio. A book you're most likely to DNF. Why? Oh my god. A book I'm most likely to DNF. I mean, there is one on here that I tried reading before and I did DNF it. So these are the 2 that I'm kind of thinking about. This Close to Okay, I actually started reading this a while ago and I have DNF'd it before. So I know that I would probably DNF this one. And then Firefly Lane, I've had this book on my shelf for a really long time. I also know Christina Hanna writes, I think, historical fiction, which is not my fave genre. It's also lengthy. So between these 2, these are the 2 that I'm like, I think I would actually DNF both of these. You know, I'm gonna do Kristen Hanna. We're gonna challenge ourselves to not DNF it, even though I think I would DNF it. This TBR is already stressing me out. We'll do this one. A dark and atmospheric book. I remember writing this one and I know exactly the book I want to read for this. I know exactly the book I want to read for this. Yep, One Dark Window by Rachel Gilling. This book was on my fall TBR and I never got to it, and I have just been wanting to read this book so freaking bad. So I am so excited that I chose this prompt because this was the book I was thinking about when I wrote that prompt. Ooh, a book with a 3-word title. There's a good bit of them. All About Love, Throne of Glass, All My Rage, Rest is Resistance, You've Reached Sam, The Bluest Eye, The Neighbor Favor, The Romance Book Club. I think I'm gonna go with All My Rage, and this is more of a young adult contemporary fiction rather than a fantasy that she usually writes or that she has written previously. And I really want to read basically all of her books, so she's an author that I want to do a deep dive with going into this year. I feel like this is a good one for me to read by her. A 2-word title is the next one. Let's do Funny Story. I want to read this book before her new one comes out in April, so having this on my radar is going to help me do that. So we're gonna do Funny Story for a 2-word title. A book by an author with the same initial as you. A book by an author with the same initial as you. So my initials are KKM. We have Carrie Maniscalco, KM, which is honestly pretty close. Is there another author that starts with a K? Okay, there's Catalina by Carla. Her last name starts with a V. This one's closer. I think we're gonna go with this one. So my initials are KKM and this one's KM. So I feel like this is as close as we're gonna get. Throne of the Fallen is what we're gonna choose for that one. I actually really do want to read that book. A 5-star prediction. Ooh. There's really only one that I feel so confident that is going to be a 5-star that it's not even funny, and that is One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. I read Masters of Death by this author last year in 2024, and it was hands down my favorite book of the year. I just have a strong feeling that I'm going to love this one because people, I would say, love this one more than they love Masters of Death. I don't think Masters of Death is her most popular one at all. So I feel like this is going to be a 5-star. I just know it. A book outside my favorite genres, aka romance and fantasy. None of these, basically. Okay, we have Passing by Nella Larson. We have The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. We have Catalina. I think this is like a literary fiction type of book. We have None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. We have a couple more. Little Rot is kind of outside of that. And then All About Love is non-fiction. We have these two, When We Were Sisters and The Selfless Act of Breathing. So basically I have a lot of options to choose from. I think I'm leaning towards either Passing or The Bluest Eye. I think I'm gonna do The Bluest Eye. I know this has been on my TBR for a very long time, but I feel like I just need to read a Toni Morrison book and stop being so intimidated to read classics. I've been wanting to read her books for a really long time anyways. So we're gonna go with The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison as my pick. All right, 5 more picks. Let's do this one. A book with a cover you love. I love this one. Because one thing about me, honey, I judge a book by the cover. I am that person. I do really like this cover though. This cover looks really cool. Catalina, I will say, this cover does eat. How many fantasies do I have? I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with this one. And this one is a pretty recent buy as well. And it's not that long. So I'm gonna go with Catalina. I love the color and I love the cover a lot. This one, a hardcover book. Okay. I mean, I literally just picked up Immortal Dark. I feel like I have a lot of fantasy already. I don't have that many fantasies. But I think I'm gonna go with The School for Good Mothers by Jasmine Chan. Is it Jasmine? Jessamine. I think it's Jessamine Chan. This has been on my TBR for a very long time. I've bought this book a very, very long time ago. I'm gonna use this prompt to read, again, a little outside of my comfort zone. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. These look gorgeous together. Do y'all see the vision? I see the vision. Okay. A paperback book. I think I'm gonna do Between Friends and Lovers. 1, this cover is actually gorgeous now that I think about it. And 2, I've heard a lot of really good things about this one. Emily Henry has a little thing on here. And I think Sarah Caroli has talked about this book before, and I love me some Sarah. And she loved it as well, so. And I haven't chosen a romance in a minute, so. A book you've been I wish I could read. A book you've been wanting to read forever. This one or this one. So I have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I also have The Selfless Act of Breathing. I, especially within like the past couple of months, have been really wanting to read this book, and I bought this book a while ago. I think I've had this book longer on my shelves, The Selfless Act of Breathing. My hesitation with this book is that I know it's very, very sad. Like, it's a very sad and depressing book. Do I want to put myself through that? I do not know. However, I don't think this book is all that happy, but I also know this book is a little bit of a slower read. This one's a lot shorter. I think I'm gonna go with The Selfless Act of Breathing. Oh my gosh, 1 more. I thought I had way more to do. So 1 more from these jars. I think this one's almost empty. Actually, they might be about the same. Let's choose a good one. Let's choose a good one. Let's choose a good one. Ooh, I like this one. A new to you author. I like this one a lot because one of my goals for 2025 is I want to read books by authors that are new to me. So I like this one a lot. There's a lot on here that are new to me authors. So I kind of want to go with Immortal Dark. The reason why I want to go for Immortal Dark is, one, this is her debut novel, which I think it would be fun to do debut novels, especially to start the new year. Like, this is your first novel. Let's, you know, you guys, you see the vision. Also, I've heard a lot of really good things about this book. Come on. That is so crazy. No soul can enter without an invitation. I feel like this would just be really exciting, especially if I do really love this book. I get to kind of follow along this author's kind of journey as a new author, like writing these books and writing any other books. So I feel like this is a good one to choose for a new to me author. I almost chose Abby Jimenez, because I've been dying to start her books, but this one has just been, it's been eyeing me. So I think we have our 15 books for Q1. Let's go through them, okay? So we have Between Friends and Lovers, Catalina, The School for Good Mothers, excuse me, The Bluest Eye, One for My Enemy, Throne of the Fallen, Funny Story, All My Rage, One Dark Window, Firefly Lane, Love Radio, Open Water, Air, The Selfless Act of Breathing, and Immortal Dark. Alrighty, this is them. I'm not gonna pick them up because I feel like that's going to be a disaster waiting to happen. But yeah, these are the books that I'm going to read in the first 3 months of the year, Q1, January, February, and March. I'm so excited. I, like I said, really want to prioritize reading from my physical TBR. I feel like I chose a really good selection of books. I'm excited for honestly all of them except for Firefly Lane, because I'm scared I'm going to DNF that book, but we're going to challenge myself to not do that. Will I deviate from the books on this list? Probably, because I know for sure Oathbound is coming out in March and I'm going to literally clear everything off of my plate to read that book. So that's one book I know that I'm going to read that's going to deviate from my physical TBR or from my Q1 TBR. And then I know Denise Williams is also putting out a book in March that I really want to read. And there's a couple of other books that I have my eye on that are coming out in the first couple of months of the year. Also, I have Kindle Unlimited. I'm sure I'm going to be sidetracked and want to read something on my Kindle. There might be audiobooks I might want to read. I know I'm going to deviate from this list, but we will check back in April when I do a wrap up and see how many books from this list that I actually read and completed. And I do think I'm gonna really try and focus on this. Keep an eye out for some reading vlogs that will include these books. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know the books that are on your January TBR or your winter TBR or your Q1 TBR, just books that you have your eyes on for the upcoming new year. I hope you guys are having an amazing 2025 so far. I'm so excited for this year, and I will see you guys in my next video very soon. Bye!